to everybody after the fact. So Mike, if you want to send me your presentation, you can definitely send that over to us and we can include it in that email.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So let's get started here. So thank you for offering to do that. I love to do cross-selling webinars. My office used to lead the company for 10, 15, 20, 30 years consecutively in cross-selling. And so I know it works. I know it works. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is I talk about like client assessments. Okay. What do I mean by client assessment? I think, before we all talk to everybody, one of the things is we should know a little bit about our clients, right? I just don't understand that, hey, if you go in and you have an appointment and you already go in there with the Medicare Advantage plan, or you already go in there with the supplement plan or whatever, you already got this preconceived notion. I will ask you why, because I've been doing this 37 years. And I've seen where brokers have gotten in trouble by having preconceived notions. Don't do that. And so what I'd like to just show this little pie, and I'm just really going to talk about this left-hand side today. That's what I'm really going to talk about, okay? So that we can make sure that everybody understands what I'm going to talk about. So I always talk about, I want to make sure when I talk to a client that I want to help them with their health, life, and retirement planning, because that's what I do. Health, life, and retirement planning. I'm probably a lot like all of you. I have my life and health license. That's all I got is my life and health license. I do not have securities or anything like that anymore, but the health, life, and retirement I like to help them with. And when it comes to helping them with their health insurance needs, I like to help them with their Medicare products, right? That's what I like to help them with. And whether it's a MA plan, okay, whether it's an MA plan or a Med Sup, I don't care. Whatever is best for the consumer is what I want to do to help them. I can also help them with their prescription drug plans too. That's what I help people with. I also help people with their long-term care needs. I could tell them that, or their short-term health care needs or short-term care needs. I can also help them with their hospital indemnity plans that I can help fill part of the needs in case, somebody would buy a high deductible G, or somebody bought an MA plan and they want some coverage for the days that they're in the hospital. So I can help them with that. I can help them with their cancer plans, because I also know that 1 out of every 2 people in America will get cancer someday. And I know out of that one person that does get it, that within 3 years, they will go through their entire life savings. So it's kind of scary looking at some of those statistics. And then also too, if somebody wants to buy like a critical illness type policy, I can also help them with that. So I want to make sure that they understand up front that I just don't sell Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplements, because so many customers that I talk to down the road, and I thank everybody that's out there today for not cross-selling, because when I run across somebody, I'm going to go into these other areas and they're like, Mike, how come these other people never told us that they did long-term care or short-term health care or hospital indemnity or cancer or critical illness? How come they didn't say that? I'm like, I don't know. So make sure a key part of you cross-selling in the future is going to be that you tell your consumers what you do, okay? So many of them think that we're just Medicare people and we're moving on. That's not who we are. We all want to make good money in this business, and I want you to make good money too. I want to help you make good money. But if you don't tell people what you do for a living, you're hurting yourself, because they might not buy anything. Oh, guess what I forgot? Dental. Make sure that you talk to them about their dental coverage. That's a big, big thing out there. And if you want to, we can wait for questions to the end, or we can do them now if anybody wants, because I'm going to have time within this hour to answer any questions if you want to do it that way too. But as I do that, has anybody got questions for me, or why did I do that? I want to know. I want my customers to know what I do, because if they do, who knows? I might be helping them with their Medicare plans, but also too, they're like, Mike, I need a long-term care policy. My friends did. My parents lived a long life. Maybe I need to buy one of those. Well, okay, we'll take a look at that. Mike, I think I like that cancer idea. You know, I used to have an Aflac policy, Mike, but then I got rid of it. But I'm, you know, that I'm older, I might want to get that back. I said, sure, I'll circle that and we'll make sure we want to talk about it, because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on these other things unless they want to, because I want to get into Medicare, because that's how I scheduled the appointment. Okay, that's what I did. Any questions about that?
There are no questions in the chat box right now.
Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm gonna do a red color, but what I'm trying to do is make sure that I want to go to the next page. I want to scroll down, but see, I got this pin and it's not letting me do that. Let's see here. Nope, it's not letting me do that. Let me do that. Nope, I don't want to leave the webinar here. Let's give control.
Yes, please don't leave.
No, I'm not letting leave. I'm trying to get maybe here. Let's see. Erase the drawings. I did do that, but I don't know why it won't even let me get rid of this. Anybody got any idea on that? Sorry about this.
You know, I mean, that's, we just see your screen with your original chart.
Yeah, and that I'm trying to get it to the next page and it will not go to the next page at all.
I don't think that has anything to do with us.
Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, it's not allowing me to do, no. Oh, I'm embarrassed as usual, but.
You're perfectly fine. Take your time.
Well, I might
Well,
be
and
taking
the thing is, you know, all of these webinar systems work differently, you know?
There we go. Okay, so I got it. So I see which one it is now. So what I also
You got
would
to
like
share
to
your
do,
screen again, Mike. You stopped sharing.
I did stop sharing.
Do you need me to make you the presenter again? I can try.
Let's see.
Nope, you're the presenter currently. Yep, there you go.
Oh,
there we go.
okay. So what I then, after I do that in the beginning with the people, I like to now go through what we call the retirement checklist. This is a big, big deal with people. I'm mainly going to talk a little bit today about people that are turning 65, coming on to Medicare for the very first time, but it can be for any age, because you can see this with my next checklist is whether you've had an MA or you're a Med Sup, I can still do cross-selling that way too. So no matter which one they have. But I'm going to start with what we have as far as your retirement checklist. When you're leaving your group plans or you're leaving Obamacare, the ACA coverage or individual plans, and now you're going to come into retirement, okay? So here's what I'm going to talk about. So what I like to say to the people is this, and these are some key words that you need to make sure that you use, is, you know, I'm going to use Trevor as an example. You know what, Trevor? I just want to make sure when I help you with your Medicare today, I just want to make sure that your retirement benefits package, I want to make sure that your benefits in retirement, Trevor, are as good as or better than when you are working. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
They're like, absolutely. You know, who doesn't want better benefits in retirement than what they had while they're working? So Trevor, what I'm going to need to do is ask you a few questions. You know, what did you have for your health insurance while you're working? And I'm going to say, we all know that 75% of all people in America have a high deductible health plan at work, okay? And 50% of those people have HSA accounts, okay? I think that's important that you ask about HSA dollars. So with that being said, you know, how much did you pay for your insurance while you're working, Trevor? Let's say Trevor says, well, Mike, that was $300 a pay period, okay? So I know then that's $600 for a month. And Trevor, what was your deductible? And he says $5,000. Okay, great. That's your deductible. And your co-insurance was 80/20, great, up to a max of what, 10,000 out of pocket, because this is normal today. And you know, did you have any HSA dollars? And let's say Trevor said, yeah, Mike, I got $10,000 in my HSA account. And then I'll ask him, do they have any preventative benefits and stuff like that? And I've said, well, you know, as we transition into retirement, Trevor, how would you like it? Look at this, you're paying $600 a month for your health insurance with a $5,000 deductible and then 80/20 up to 10,000. You know, Trevor, just for an example, what if I could get you a plan that had a $257 deductible? It had a $257 max out of pocket as long as they were Medicare approved charges. And I could probably get you that plan for about $150 a month plus your Part B premium of $185. I could probably get all of that to you for about $335 and get you a prescription drug plan probably at zero cost. So for a total of $335 out of your pocket. What are your thoughts on that, Trevor? And I'm going to listen to him talk. But think about what Trevor's seeing right now. He's seeing $335 versus $600 a month. So he's now died and gone to heaven because he's going to save $265 a month. And look at, he doesn't have a $5,000 deductible anymore. He's only got a Part B deductible of $257. And naturally, I'm talking about Plan G, but that doesn't mean I'm going to sell him Plan G. I'm just giving him an idea. Or I could get him a plan for like $40 a month. That's the high deductible G. And he has a max out of pocket of $2,870. Compare that to his $10,000. And I would say, Trevor, what do you think about this? And he's like, oh my, that looks good. I mean, so now all of a sudden he's understanding Medicare. And if you want to, you don't have to sell him the Med Sup. Sell them an MA plan. I don't care what you do. Just make sure it's best, what's best for them. And then you could talk to them, you know, what the max out of pocket is on that MA plan and what the co-pays are. And that's why you would ask him what his co-pays were at work, because a lot of people are used to that type of thing. But what I'm doing to him, to the customer right now, is I'm showing him a visual. Remember, folks, that we are all visual people, okay? Seniors are visual people and they like colors. What am I doing to you today? I'm doing a visualization with color, okay? That's how we learn as human beings. So what I've done to Trevor is now look at, oh my God, I can get better. What I'm really telling him is this: I can get him better health insurance than what he had while he was working. Because this is all that Trevor knows. He's had this all of his life. And his deductibles have gone up every year. His co-insurance has gone up. His max out of pocket's gone up. And something I do know for a fact is that his premiums have gone up over time. Okay? So we just want to make sure that we help him so that you can see that your health insurance in retirement, Trevor, will be better than what you had while you're working. Are you okay with that? And yes, he is. Then I would ask, you know, Trevor, let me ask you, did you have dental insurance coverage while you're working? And he tells me yes. Great. Well, what did you pay per pay period? Well, you know, Mike, I paid $10 a pay period. Okay, that was $20 a month then. You know, Trevor, what was your deductible while you were working? Was it 50 or 100? Because almost every group plan has a deductible. It's either 50 or $100. Trevor says, oh, you know, Mike, I think it was 100. And what was the max out of pocket on? What was the max benefit on that, Trevor? 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000? Trevor said, well, Mike, I think it was 2. Okay, great. You know, so here's one of the things I can do, Trevor, as you go into retirement is I can say this, that our teeth do not get healthier as we get older. So should we maybe make sure that we get that dental insurance coverage while you're in retirement? And then he says, well, yeah, we should do that, Mike. I'm just going to circle this. Because what did I just do? I just sold him a dental plan. He already told me that, yes, that's important for retirement. So I'm going to sell him a dental plan, okay? And if you wanted to sell him the Physicians Mutual dental plan, which is great, the high-end plan is $56 a month. It has no deductible, and it has no caps, and it pays 70% for all major services. And we use the Emeritus PPO network. So you can see the difference, and I'll guarantee the network's probably bigger than what he had at work. He only had a $2,000 cap at work. Now he's going to have no caps. It's unlimited. He has no deductible, but it's less than a couple bucks a day, okay? Think about that. Also, too, let me ask you, Trevor, did you have any type of extended cancer protection, like maybe an Aflac policy, an Allstate policy, or anybody like that come into your business and talk to you about that? Well, no, Mike, nothing happened there. Well, let me ask you a quick question, Trevor. Have you ever known anyone or anybody in your family, Trevor, ever had cancer? The answer to that question, folks, is yes, every time. Somebody, if you don't have cancer in your family, whether it's grandma, grandpa, mom or dad, aunt or uncle, brother or sister, everybody has known somebody that has cancer. So as soon as they tell me the word yes, I ask them who had the cancer. Well, you know, Mike, my uncle had it, blah, 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 or my grandpa had it, or my grandma had it. As soon as they say, tell me who, and it's in the family, the first thing I say is, do you understand that you will have a 75 to 80% chance of getting cancer in your lifetime? Because it is hereditary and it is in the bloodlines. You can go to the American Cancer website and see all of these statistics that talks about that. It's actually scary. And I'll say, you know, you have a 75 to 80% chance of getting that. We probably should look at getting an extended cancer protection policy because, you know, it doesn't cover, you know, your Medicare, your MA plan, your group insurance don't cover experimental treatments and all those high cost of drugs and things like that. So let me ask you, if you had a chance to fight cancer with or without money, which one would you choose? They're like, well, Mike, I'd rather do it with. Okay. So we'll look at getting you one of those plans too. So does everybody see what I'm doing? I'm doing this ahead of time before I get into my Medicare presentation. Why? Because I need to know more about the customer and anything like that. I need to have some facts about them so that I know what's available. Because if I go back up here and I see this right here, and I see somebody's got HSA dollars, okay? Let's say somebody has HSA dollars. My question is this, and I'm going to do it with all my years of experience. My question is this. If you have 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 of HSA money in HSA account, why do we sell them a plan G that has a max out of pocket of $257 when this money can be used to pay out of pocket medical expenses? Why are we doing that? Unless they're terminally ill, why are you doing this? I don't understand that, especially when they got HSA money. That's just my opinion, okay? And then another thing that I would always ask them is that, hey, did you used to have some type of life insurance while you're working? You know, a lot of times carriers or employers gave you 1 or 2 times your salary, right? You know, what was yours like, Trevor? And Trevor's like, you know, mine was 1 times my salary, Mike. And I said, okay, good. What was that salary? Let's say it was $100,000. So he had a $100,000 policy. I said, Trevor, are you able to take that into retirement with you? And he's like, you know, Mike, I can't. Well, what's the purpose of having that 100,000, Trevor? And he might tell me it might be a legacy, leave a legacy. It could be, hey, I want to turn that into an income stream for my spouse or my loved ones, or I want to give my grandkids some money in, you know, to help them remember me, whatever it is. Well, you know, now that it's not going and it's not going with you into retirement, Trevor, we probably need to look at getting you at least a $100,000 policy over here, shouldn't we? And I'm going to wait for his answer. Okay. And then I'm going to talk about, you know, what did you have for vision and hearing benefits? What was your prescription drug benefits look like? Because maybe they need a vision or hearing policy, or, you know, with Physicians Mutual, we have a vision and dental rider that we add to our dental or our standalone dental plan. And then, you know, I'm going to help them with their Part D. So, you know, Trevor, you had this full benefits package each and every year while you were working, didn't you? And he's like, yeah. And each year you had an open enrollment period where you could choose what health plan you wanted while you're working. You got to choose whether you wanted vision coverage, hearing coverage, dental, cancer, life, all those things while you're working, right? And he says, yeah. So Trevor, don't worry about it. As you go into retirement, you're going to do the same exact thing. You get to pick here at turning 65 or whatever age you are. You get to pick what your benefits package in retirement looks like. Okay? You get to pick that. So just remember this, folks. I just want to make sure that your benefits in retirement are as good as or better than what you had while you're working. Is that okay? So let me ask you this question. Now that you know all of this information, how hard is it to do a Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage presentation? It's not hard at all. But now think about this. I want everybody to think about this. As you are now a credible educator. You're not a Medicare salesperson. You're a credible educator. You just showed your customer that you care more about helping them with all of their health products or their life products versus just Medicare. So that if they end up deciding they need dental down the road, let's say they don't buy it today, but they need dental down the road, they will call you because they know you do that and you asked about it. Or if they needed some life insurance down the road, or if they needed a vision or hearing policy, or they needed help with their Part D plan, they know to call you because you're not just a salesperson. You're a credible educator that will help them with their retirement benefits package. That's what you help, because remember, they all understand the package they had at work, and all they're doing is taking that in. They can't take it into retirement, so you have to come up with a new package, and that is a Medicare supplement plan or an MA plan to take care of the health insurance. You're going to get them an individualized standalone dental plan to take the place of their group dental. You probably might get them a cancer with critical illness rider policy or something like that in the event that they canceled their Aflac or Allstate plan, or they never had one, but they might like that. Also, too, they might need more life insurance since they're losing all of their life insurance from when they were working. And a lot of times people don't realize that most of the time, the only life insurance people have to their name is what they were given from work. That's sad, okay? But think about that. They might need that. And then last but not least is the vision, hearing, and prescription drugs. Anybody got any questions about this retirement checklist?
Nope, there's still no questions in the chat. Everybody's pretty quiet today, but I hope everybody is getting some good education here about how to position yourself and how to help your clients, the best way that you possibly can. But you go right ahead, Mike.
Okay. Now I'm back to that same problem again. I'm sorry. Let's see here.
You're fine. Take your time.
There's Trevor. Okay. Let me pause it. Okay. Let's see. Normal. How about that? There we go. And if you have to, then, if you need somebody's got an MA plan and you want to talk to them about a med sup, you can do that right here. And then you go, let's say they're 70 years old and they've been on Medicare for a little bit. And let's say they had a supplement and you're thinking, well, Mike, they're complaining about how much their supplement is. Maybe they need an MA plan. Share with them what an MA could look like, but then ask them about these other products, okay? Do you have this taken care of? Because then they're going to start talking about, oh God, I wonder why that first agent didn't tell me that. And then you had your Part D annual review. Make sure you review their drug coverage with them, because you might be able to save them a lot of money. Because I know there are people out there that were taking people off zero premium plans and putting them on a $45 a month plan just so they can make money. Now, I know somebody could get sued in a heartbeat by doing that, okay? But that's what you need to do. Also, too, another thing that I would like to share with you is what we call the complete retirement package worksheet. And so when it comes time to do your product and you're going to sell, you've already determined, let's say they want to buy a med sup. Well, let's say this person, their date of birth was, in 1960, okay? It was 1960, so they were turning 65 here. And you have all their information. You have what's on their A and B card. You get their social security information, their address, phone number, things like that. And then what I do is then, before I even go on the appointment, I know, or before I talk to them, I know their zip code, right? I know their address and zip code. So, and I know their sex because I've already talked to them on the phone because I schedule the appointment. So then I will put in what a high deductible G is. Then I put into this chart what the innovative G plan is. That's that patented plan that's exclusive to Physicians Mutual. And then I might put a plan G premium in for that zip code and their sex. And then what I will also do is this. Oh boy. Okay, let's go back up here. Let's go to there. And I will scroll down. And then what I will do is put in what does it cost for the dental policy plus the vision and hearing rider that we have. And that might be $60 because I'm going to give them the high-end plan. I can always go down in coverage, but I don't want to put in the low-end plan for $30 because then they'll think, okay, I can get dental for $30. And then when I tell them, well, I have to double that to get the high-end plan. So I always start high because I can go down, okay? But you can't start low and go up. It doesn't work that way. And then I talk to them about an extended cancer protection plan and why they need it, especially if they've had cancer in their family. Let's say that that's $50 for somebody turning 65. And then I talk to them about maybe a final expense plan where, hey, do you happen to have any final expense coverage? Have you done any pre-need planning for your funeral or anything, or your cremation? And let's say that's $60. So then what I get done, I'm coming down here and I said, okay, there's 110, 110. Here's 220. Here is 275. And then here is another 32, 307. So what I say to them is this, what Medicare plan did you want? Oh, they wanted that innovative plan. Okay. Well, your full benefits, your full retirement benefits package is going to cost you $275 a month. How does that compare to the $600 a month you are paying just for your health insurance? Now you're going to say, well, Mike, you didn't say plus Part B of your Part B premium. Okay. So if I do that, that's another $185 or whatever their Part B premium is. So if that's the case, then now we're up to $460. So you know what, Trevor? I'm going to give you this innovative G that has a max out of pocket of $2,870 that will become a regular G within the next 3 years. And your plan also includes dental coverage that's better than what you had before, and it has no deductibles and no caps. And the cancer provision that will give you anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 in payments in case you got cancer. And I got you a little $15,000 burial policy in the event that you happen to prematurely pass away. Trevor, I got that all for you for $460 compared to you were just paying $600 alone for your health insurance while you're working. Should we go ahead and get this taken care of today? And a lot of times they're like, yeah, Mike, let's just do it all. And next thing you know, it's a sad thing, but you have to write 4 applications plus the Part D. But you're also, what I'm going to tell you is this. Watch what happens now. Now you just made $325 selling the med sup. You just made $225 selling the dental. You just made $275 selling the cancer. You just made another $400 selling them the final expense. So now what's happened is you've made $1,225 on one appointment. My question to all of you is this: how much are you making per appointment? And so let's say you did an MA plan, okay? Well, you make $694 there this year. And maybe you'll make $225 on the dental. For all of you that are selling Medicare Advantage, one of the rumors that I have heard, I haven't seen any first looks yet, I haven't seen any yet, that it sounds like they're going to cut some of their dental coverage. Has anybody heard that yet or seen that yet?
Yeah, I've heard the same rumors.
Okay, we've heard that same rumors. It's okay that they do, folks. It is okay, because I would just tell them, hey, if they're only going to give you $1,000 or $2,000 worth of dental coverage, and I know the network's going to be small, very, very small, you can say, hey, I have a great dental plan here from Physicians Mutual that has no caps. It has no deductible. It's unlimited. It pays 70%. Let's go ahead and get that dental plan taken care of today. And if you need, and it has a 12-month waiting period for major because it has no caps and deductibles, let's go ahead and use that $1,000 or $2,000 that you get for from your MA plan. We'll use that for the first 12 months, but after 12 months, we're going to use that Physicians Mutual plan. It's going to be a hell of a lot better and give you great comprehensive dental coverage. What are your thoughts? They will love you for saying that, especially if you could even say, hey, you know, the dental coverage that they're giving you is crap. Let's be honest about it. But I can get you this plan that's the most highly rated plan out there with no deductible, no caps. It pays 70%. It's a standalone plan for people 18 and above. Let's get that one. Okay, I'll do that, Trevor. And then next thing you know, you're making all of this money. Because let me also tell you this. If you're selling Medicare Advantage, okay, which most of us do, I believe in my heart a cancer policy is critical. Why? Because if you go through cancer treatments with most MA plans, what do they tell you? You have to pay a 20% coinsurance. Sometimes those treatments are $5,000 to $10,000. Well, if you're paying 20% coinsurance, that's $1,000 to $2,000 per treatment until you hit the max out of pocket. Why wouldn't you want to sell them an indemnity cancer plan that's going to give them $1,000 to $2,000 a month for every treatment that they do to help take care of this out-of-pocket amount from an MA plan, okay? But if you have a supplement, then it's going to take care of those cancer treatments. But you see what's happening? We're filling all of the gaps, whether it's Medicare supplement or it's a Medicare Advantage plan. And then last but not least, that neither one of those plans do a good job of covering is any type of final expense coverage. And just say, hey, you know, do you happen to have any type of final expense or any life coverage today? No, I don't, Trevor. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and get this little $15,000 burial plan. This way, it's taken care of. You don't have to burden anybody, and it'll take care of your final expenses. How's that sound? And I'm looking for a yes or no answer. If they say yes, great. We're going to do that too. And then I'm writing it up, and I make all of this money. Versus over here, if I just, you know, if I sold the MA and the cancer plan, well, I'm going to bump this to $695. So that's going to be 11, 12. That would make it $920. You sold the cancer plan, let's bump that to $280. Now you're up to $1,200. And if you did the final expense, you're up to $1,600 per appointment. But let's say that you only sold a couple of the policies. Well, isn't that better than just one? Okay. And you notice I'm not giving you any commission for the prescription drug plan. I have a feeling that almost all prescription drug plans this year won't pay a commission. So what we're seeing is if some of the carriers are cutting commissions, whether it's for Part D, whether it's, you know, most of the PPO plans under the MAs now, they're non-commissionable. I just seen one come out in Arizona that's an HMO POS plan. It's non-commissionable in the biggest county. Okay, so if they're going to be cutting our pay, which we all need to get paid for the education and the services that we give people, we better maximize what we do with them. We have to get away from that we are just Medicare salespeople, whether it's the MA or the MedSup. We have to get that. We have to get that out of our mindset that we are credible educators. We've got our insurance license to help educate these people on their transition from their working years into their retirement years. And this is how we do it. Let's not be quiet today. What questions do you have and how do you do this? I just showed you how to do this. And if you do it, I promise you will make more money for yourselves.
Yeah, there's still no questions. I don't know if everybody's just busy taking copious notes or what they're doing, but does anybody have anything that they want to ask Mike, or does anybody got anything that's kind of resonating with them out of what he's presenting to us today? Unfortunately, I can't unmute you, but if you put it in the question box, I'm happy to read it aloud for everyone.
Hey, this is Trev. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, as somebody that's been working with Mike for the last, again, he's been here for 32. I'm going on 19 in November. And using these tools over the years, it works, guys. And a few key things that Mike pointed out, if you're not talking about what you do and you're not talking about the ways that you can help people, someone else will. And if you've only got the med sup in the house and somebody starts helping them with their dental and their prescription drugs and, their life insurance and different things, guess what? Chances are bye-bye goes the med sup or the MA plan. And it does take maybe a little bit more time and a little bit of time to get used to if you're not used to asking those questions. But also those transitional phrases are absolutely imperative. Set that expectation. Hey, do you mind if I share with you what it is that I do for a living? Once you're transitioning there in from that first page showing you what you do for a living into the retirement checklist, look, I'm going to be asking you a bunch of questions because the more I know about you, the better I'll be able to help you or serve you or advise you or whatever verbiage that you want to use. But typically you will get little to no pushback as long as you're setting those expectations up front. And again, clearly letting them know, listen, the reason for all of this is we want to get you as good of, if not better, benefits in retirement than when you were working. And then at the end, to be able to wrap it up with that retirement protection summary and to be able to show people just how affordable the entire retirement package is. And then without having to feel like you're peddling policies, you're putting the ball in their court. Hey, which areas do you wish to not protect yourself against in retirement? And chances are they're going to pick more than just the Medicare product that you were originally there to help with. And any of you that have used Physicians Mutual software knows how easy it is. Once you've taken the Med Sup app, you go to add the dental, the cancer, the life, the application's practically already filled out for you. So we make doing business from a cross-selling perspective with our tools, with our e-apps, with our quoting, as simple as possible. Okay, and I don't remember if it was Stephanie or Lisa that had said at the beginning, but how important now with MA's cutting, with Part D's cutting commissions, so on and so forth, is it to cross-sell, to retain your clients and to be able to offset some of those commission dollars that maybe you were used to getting from some of those other products. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid.
We do have some. We've got some questions in the chat if you.
Okay, perfect.
So the first one is, how do the SOA rules apply to this?
So the scope of appointment, right?
Yep.
Okay, so the scope of appointment is this. I can talk about in general Medicare supplement, or let me scroll down here. Let me get out of this one here. I'll erase that, and then I'm going to go to my normal and go down here. Now, if you start going into detail about MA plans and start talking about MA plans, you better stop and do a scope of appointment, right? But I'm just doing this in general. If I'm out there talking about other plans, I'm talking about what they need in retirement. Okay, I need if I meet them and they're 70, I'm talking about this. Okay, that's where I'm really going, and then we're going to talk about your Medicare. And if they tell me, well, I think I want an MA plan, okay, you must stop right there and then when they say I want that MA plan. But I can go through drawings. I can go through a situation where I'll show you another one real quick here that I like to use with people. It is one of the things that I teach. I'm going to get rid of that one. Is this, talking to them about this. But if I talk to them about an Advantage plan versus a Med Sup, I can do that. I don't need a scope of appointment to do this. Okay.
I think maybe what she's asking about are the rules involved when you start talking about other products. So if you start talking about an MA plan with that client, you can talk about dental, you can talk about vision, but once you start talking about like life insurance, you need to make a separate appointment for that.
Yes, yes, you would. You would.
Right. I think that was maybe what she was
Okay.
trying to understand. So yeah, you do have to make a separate appointment. I mean, you can generalize and go over those things and ask those questions, but if they want to start getting into detail and they want to talk about life insurance, you just have to set a separate appointment, just to keep things, keep yourself compliant.
Now, if it is specifically a med sup appointment and there's nothing to do with MA, then that goes out the window.
Right,
You can do whatever you
exactly.
want. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. The next question was, can we get a copy of your worksheet? So if you would be okay with sending that to us, we can send it out with the recording to everyone that's registered for today. Would that be okay?
Absolutely. I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then the next question, do you feel any of the life hybrids or life with accelerated benefit products are good alternatives to include in this retirement planning bundle?
Yeah, you can, but how would you know to even go or even present a product like that until you have all this information about them? Unless you know, and I think that's, I always tell people is this, we had 37,000 complaints to CMS about people like all of us this last year. Okay. So think about that. A lot of time, what is the complaint about? It's about somebody ramming a product down somebody's throat that they didn't need. And that's the problem is CMS is asking all of us to be credible educators, to educate the consumer about what their choices are. So I would say yes to that person's question. Yes, they're very viable in the right circumstance, but how are you going to find out what that circumstance is if you haven't asked them a bunch of these questions or know a little bit about them? I just had a situation that was horrible, that somebody that had stage 3 was ready to be stage 4 terminal cancer, and somebody replaced their Met Sup with an Advantage plan. I did not understand it, and the people did not know what they were doing. And they just said, all it was, hey, I'll save you some premium dollars. All of a sudden, because I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. All of a sudden, the lady went to the Mayo Clinic where she'd been going. Guess what it was like for a lady that just went on to stage 4 cancer, fighting for her life, frail, sick, and just found out, sorry, we can't do your treatment today. She's like, what do you mean? Well, you switched to a Medicare Advantage plan. We do not accept any. There's the problem that lies within the brokerage community. What was that person thinking of other than their own pocketbook?
Yeah, that's crazy. I think a lot of that comes back to training. I think that a lot of people don't understand the products that they're being sent out there to sell. They just, I don't know why else you would do that other than you just don't know what you're doing.
I think what happened was that was for somebody's pocketbook. They wanted to make a bunch of money.
It's terrible.
Well,
That's
think
terrible.
about what that happens is. So you wonder sometimes why agents get sued. There's an example right there. What I don't, other than you wanted to make a little bit more money, I don't understand why you would do that to that poor lady. But it happened. I happened to know her, and it's sad. So, and then also too, any other questions out there before I go through the healthcare pod?
Someone asked if you could provide the Medicare comparison slides that you just showed also.
I can do that for you.
It's a different presentation, so don't feel like you have to.
Yeah,
but
there's one time there's a class that I teach, and anybody, if you want to, I can send you my schedule. But it's called the Medicare Showdown between the supplement and the MA plan. And the only thing I do is just go through Medicare parts. I go through. I'll just pull it up real quick to show you. Is that I just go through A and B just because, hey, people have been paying in on their FICA taxes all their life, and what do you get for paying in all that, your 40 quarters and that? Well, here's what you get. You get original Medicare, and you get Part A for free, okay? And this is what Part A and B cover, because one of the things that CMS has talked about is They want us brokers to do a better job of educating people on the choices that people have. So when you walk into a house and the only thing you present and you say, hey, I can get you this plan G, everybody's buying G for $150 and buy the cheapest G because they're all the same, and then you walk out, that's not right. Or you walk in with an MA plan, you ask them who their doctor is, and oh, yep, that's in the network. Would you rather go to this hospital? Yes, I would. Well, that's just down the street. It's in the network and it's zero premium, and you walk out. No, educate them, show them what they get for paying in all those FICA taxes. Talk to them about Part D. So many people forget to be talked about Part D. And then it's just going over, here, and this is already approved by the departments of insurance, so you don't have to worry about being out of compliance or something. But yeah, this plan here, and it just goes through, 10 different, the 10 differences. You could probably put more on there, but since the company, we already had this approved by the departments of insurance, I just go through this and I let the customer make their choice. Because honestly, folks, I don't care which one they buy. I just care that they do business with me. That's what I want. And if I do a good job of educating them, they're going to buy one of the two. They will. And, naturally that, I'll talk about the cross selling and stuff like that. And then I just go through the healthcare pie is what I do with them on that presentation. But I will send that to you. That's not a problem at all.
Thanks, Mike. We really appreciate that. Yeah. Somebody said that's a great slide. They really like your slide.
I always get people stealing my slides, which I enjoy and help with. And then I just talk to them about people that don't understand, or you're having trouble with somebody that's having a hard time understanding Part A and B. Then I just take them through this healthcare pie that's copyrighted by physicians, and it goes through, and I just talk to them, when it comes to doctor's office visits, even if you use an MA plan too, I just tell them that's covered under Part B of Medicare and it's subject to the 257. After the $257 deductible, then you get into 80/20 coinsurance. You see in the blue, Medicare is paying 80, then the supplement, if you have a G, the G will pay the 20%, or like if you had our innovative or high deductible plan, then the consumer pays the 20%. Then I just ask them, when it comes to dental office coverage, what part of Medicare does that cover? And then they'll go, well, I don't know, is that B? No, Medicare doesn't cover that at all. I just want to make sure that we get your dental office and your dental coverage taken care of. So if they haven't bought dental from me, I'm leaving this blank because it will show them that they have a shortage, or they don't have that product. So it'll show them that maybe they need that. So what'll happen in all of this, I'm not going to go through all of this because this is just going through the Part B stuff right here. And the Part D for the pharmacy, I'll talk to them about that. And then the outpatient, naturally, that's 80/20. It's either that 20% being paid by the G plan or the F plan, or it's coming out of your pocket. And then the Part A with hospitalization, that's 1676. If you have to pay the Part A deductible, if you have a plan that, like a G plan that pays it, well then good, but that 1676 is the Part A deductible. I'll talk to them about that. Durable medical equipment, okay, that's 80/20. It's either them or the supplement. I tell them this stuff. And then, if they buy our innovative or the high deductible, it has a 2870 max out of pocket. I'll tell them that. Home health care, I just tell them Medicare does a great job with home health care visits and how many visits they get per procedure, or they have something done. And then I come over here to adult daycare and assisted living nursing home on a custodial basis. And I'll ask them what part of Medicare covers adult daycare. And they all think that their Medicare covers that. Folks, you know that it doesn't. Okay, don't let people think that it does. And I tell them that's either $50 to $100 a day. You go into an assisted living facility, Medicare or an Advantage plan has nothing to do with you. Make sure they understand that. Or if they end up in a nursing home, Medicare has nothing to do with you on an intermediate or custodial basis. And then I'll ask them, at $10,000 a month, that's expensive. And 1 out of every 2 of us will end up in a facility at some time in our lifetime. So I always ask them, at $10,000 a month times 12, that's 12 months a year. That's $120,000, people, that a customer will have out of their pocket by being in one of these facilities. That's a lot of money. And if you did sell long-term care insurance or short-term care or annuities, I would just ask them, how long could you afford to pay this $120,000 out of your pocket in the event that you got sick and needed care? How long could you pay that $120,000 out of your savings, your checking, your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, IRAs, 401ks, and things like that? And every time I look at them, they're looking up to the ceiling. And then somebody says, you know, Mike, I could pay for that out of 3 years. So I'll just ask them, well, that's $360,000 you must have. And they're like, yep, Mike, I have somewhere around that. Well, let me just ask you, is that money safe? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, is it subject to the stock market risk? And if they say yes, I said, would you like to keep it safe? And they're like, well, yeah, Mike. And then, if you sell annuities, then you could go into that. But what I just did, I just found money. I just found money because I have a lot of friends that are like stockbrokers. They're like, Mike, how do you sell so much in annuities? How do you find money? Well, I just showed everybody on this call how I find money. And then what I also did was I showed you how you could sell a short-term home health care policy, or you could sell long-term care. And then also too, I might just draw a teeter-totter with them and say, hey, I know you might not be able to afford it or whatever, but let me ask you a question. If you got sick and needed care, would you rather write a $500 check per month, or would you rather write a $10,000 check per month? Because let's be honest with each other, folks. If you don't have a long-term care policy and you end up in a facility, this is the check you're writing right here. You're writing that each and every month, and you're taking out of your savings checking or all your investments. But if you were to buy a long-term care policy, maybe you would only be paying $500 a month and letting the long-term care policy pay for it. And then I just go right into the skilled, and naturally that Medicare, and the MA plans do pay some of the skilled stuff, but usually after 100 days, Medicare has nothing to do with you. And I said, that's why we need to take care of this right here. Then I talk about hospice. Then I talk about non-medical expenses, like maybe they need a hospital indemnity right here, or they might need a cancer policy to take care of all of the experimental treatments that Medicare or an MA plan or nobody covers. And then here's your final expense. But so as I go through here and I just ask them, see, this is what's going to happen with your healthcare as we grow older. You're going to have all of these acute needs, and eventually they're going to become chronic over here. And this is what's happening. You're going to end up in the hospital. You're going to fall. You're going to do this and do that. You're going to need walkers, wheelchairs, canes, and things like that, after you get out of the hospital. And then you might need some home health care. And then if you're not getting better there, well, that's when you end up in a facility. And hopefully they can rehab you in one of these facilities. And if not, then if you're super sick, then you're going to go into hospice, right? And then next thing you know, you're probably going to pass, and that's where the life insurance comes into play. See how that works with this? And then when I show you this, what is glaring at you when I show you this picture after I've done all this coloring? What's glaring at you? That they have a need for dental insurance. They have a need for long-term care insurance right here, or short-term home health care. They have a need for a hospital indemnity or a cancer plan right here. And they have a need for a life insurance plan. See, that's what I've done. I just exposed all of the areas to help you cross-sell these other products. That's what I've done with them. I've showed them where their gaps are in their retirement package plan. They don't have this stuff taken care of. So I'm going to help you. And see, remember, all of us people, even especially seniors, we're visual people. We're all visual, and we like colors. So what way to do that? By showing them this, and I can show them where they're deficient in their coverages. This is where they're deficient. So this is another way to cross-sell also if you want to use this. I have people that just use the healthcare pie to cross-sell. And then they put their information into the retirement checklist. You can do it whatever way you want to. It does not matter. Here's what I would ask all of you, and I'm sure Stephanie and Lisa will agree with this. We just want you cross-selling to solve all of your customers' needs. That's why we got into the business. We did not get in business just to sell them a med sup or an MA plan and stop there. That's not why we got our life and health licenses. We got in to take care of people's needs. So why don't we do a better job of it? And I think somebody said this earlier, either Stephanie or Lisa, you said it. It all comes down to training. That's what it comes down to. Questions about this?
Nope, I agree with you 100% on what you've been saying. There's no more new questions. It looks like you've answered everybody's everything. So the obviously the things that you've been sharing with us and your years of experience and expertise are definitely useful. Especially I see some of our newer agents have joined the call today, which is really nice. But you've definitely been a huge help, and I know that everybody's taken a lot away from this presentation today. What I would tell everybody is if you're not already using these tools and tricks that he's talking about, just to make sure that you're rounding out the questions that you ask and the fact finding that you're doing, just to make sure that you're filling all those holes for your client. Because as Trevor said before, if you're not filling the gaps, somebody else is gonna, and then you're gonna lose what you already do have in the household. So just make sure that you're being diligent. If you don't know about a product or you have questions about a product, make sure you find out before you go out and present it to somebody. Education is huge. If you want to get appointed with Physicians Mutual, if you're not already, we offer all their products through Crowe & Associates. So please reach out to myself, reach out to Lisa, Teal in the office. Any one of us can help get you started. We have a great map from Trevor that I absolutely adore, the little tic-tac map that tells us what's available in every state. So we'll make sure that we include the tic-tac map when we send out the presentation. Mike, did you have anything else that you wanted to finish up with?
I just want to thank you for allowing us, me and Trevor, to present today. We're greatly appreciative of that. And if anybody has any questions or they want to talk to me about this, everybody's free to email me, text me, call me. I will help everybody if you need help.
You may be sorry that you said that.
No, it's okay. I will even say that my phone number is 402-669-1924. Call me, text me. I will go over anything with you, help you. And if you, if you want me to email you something or anything down the road, my email is mike.story, just like the book, at physiciansmutual.com.
Awesome, Mike. Thank you so much. Everybody, I'm really thankful that you joined us today. We absolutely love having Mike and Trevor on. Trevor's always so much fun. Always great information, always a good time. So thank you guys both for taking time out of your busy days today. And thank you to everyone that attended. Like we had said before, the webinar is recorded. It's going to be sent out to you. Even if somebody had to drop off early or whatever it might be. And you can also always find these on our YouTube channel as well. So that's at Crowe Medicare on YouTube. My information is on your screen right now. Stephanie Taylor, Lisa Osborne, she's our broker manager. She's in the office along with Teal. So give any one of us a call, shoot us an email. If you want to get set up with Physicians Mutual, let us know. Couple of things that we didn't really talk too much about today, but the programs with Crowe & Associates, everybody probably already knows, and we're past time, so I want to make it quick, but we do a $500 a month lead program reimbursement for Medicare leads, and we also help you out with T65 seminars, a CRM for our agents, and a portal for our agencies. So if you guys have questions about any of that stuff, or if you want to take advantage of it and you're not currently, please just reach out to us and we'll help you guys in any way that we can. Thank you for your time and attention today, and hopefully we'll talk to you guys all soon. Take care.
Thank